Justin, this morning we heard from Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, and he talked about how these tariffs could benefit Americans. Listen.
This is not a trade war. We are going to reset trade policy on April 2nd. You've got China's got huge tariffs on us, huge tariffs on everything with us. And Canada, you just talked about. Why do we produce cars in Canada? I know people worry about short term, but we are going to bring jobs. You are never going to see the amount of production come back to America that Donald Trump's going to bring back to America.
So Trump predicts this will be nothing more than short-term pain for long-term gain. Is that how you see the impacts on the American economy and on Americans' bank accounts?
I think what's coming out of the White House is, frankly, unmitigated nonsense, and there's not an economist alive who would defend what they're doing. But your viewers don't have to believe me. It turns out that there's a market where people bet on whether those sorts of effects are going to happen. I'm talking, of course, of the stock market. If Lutnick is right, and if Trump is right that these tariffs are going to lead to a boom in American business, then you should see the American stock market boom in response to a tariff announcement. What we saw was the stocks fell 2.5% yesterday, an additional 1.5% this morning. This is the stock market telling you, we think this is absolutely terrible for American business. And remember, it's businesses that are meant to benefit here. The stock market's not even taking account of the fact that high tariffs mean you and I are going to be paying a whole lot more at the grocery store as well. So there's a lot of losers all around.
The Treasury Secretary claims that Trump's tariffs from his first term didn't affect the cost of consumer goods. But we're also hearing from the CEO of Target this morning, Brian Cornell, telling a different story. Listen.
We have the experience of President Trump's first term, where the tariffs did not affect prices, and it's a holistic approach that there will be tariffs, there will be cuts in regulation, there will be cheaper energy.
We know for certain categories, like fruits and vegetables, where during this winter season, we depend on Mexico for a significant amount of supply. Those are categories where we'll try to protect pricing, but the consumer will likely see price increases over the next couple of days.
So really opposing messages there. What's the reality?
The reality is that you can't suspend the laws of economics. And the laws of economics say that when you raise costs on businesses, that is, if Home Depot has to pay more to import a washing machine that you might want to buy, it passes on those higher costs. Any argument to the contrary is just saying Home Depot or the washing machine manufacturers would be happy to trim their margins just because the White House says so. We know that's not how it works, and we actually have very clear evidence from the first set of Trump tariffs that these are passed through almost dollar for dollar into higher prices. And it's not just imported goods you've got to look out for, because American corporations, they charge us low prices not because they like us, but because competition forces them to. But if they have less competition from abroad, they're going to start to fatten up their profit margins and charge you and I higher prices as well. So there could be not just direct effects on higher prices, but ripple effects throughout the whole economy.
Let's take a look at this new CBS News poll showing Americans are still not thrilled with the state of inflation even before these tariffs. A minority, 46%, approve of Trump's handling of inflation. Remember, President Trump had promised to immediately bring down prices starting on day one of his administration. How's he doing on that promise?
He's doing terrible. Look, the original promise that he would bring down prices is a lie. No one ever expected that. What we hoped was that inflation would start to come down. Now, in fact, what's happened is people understood that tariffs were coming. A lot of people started buying their durable goods, or businesses were buying raw materials before the tariffs were in place. That extra demand has actually already led to higher prices, and they're going to lead to even higher.
A CBS News poll reflects dissatisfaction with inflation management, with only 46% approving of Trump's handling of the issue, despite his promise to lower prices immediately. Instead, inflation persists, worsened by anticipatory consumer and business spending before tariffs take effect. Unlike normal inflation, where wages eventually rise to match price increases, tariff-induced inflation does not lead to wage growth, permanently diminishing purchasing power for American families.